Martha's hands shook as she unfolded crumpled paper bag left on her porch. Not another damn condolence casserole, but a battered field notebook stuffed with bird sketches. For a lady who feeds crows, reads sticky note. 58, she'd spent months drowning in headlines, doom-scrolling till her knuckles ached. Now this, some punk from Coffeehouse fam had signed her up for Urban Bird Collective. Seattle's concrete jungle wasn't saving itself, but hell if she'd just watch it burn. That notebook? Martha's hands shook as she unfolded crumpled paper, some weather-beaten list of birds she'd meant to spot years ago, back when hope felt less like a fragile eggshell and more like something she could cradle without fear of crushing it. Seattle's drizzle blurred ink on page, but she recognized her own looping handwriting, eager underlines beneath varied thrush, Anna's hummingbird. Now, climate headlines left her gut knotted, as if she'd swallowed a fishing net. She hesitated outside Coffeehouse where Urban Beat Collective met, gripping her grandmother's field notebook, its leather cover cracked like drought-parched soil. Inside, a rainbow of puffer vests rustled as folks swapped sightings. Martha fumbled with binoculars, nearly elbowing a barista, but a woman in a Save Turtles beanie just grinned. First time. We've all been that clumsy step in new sneakers. Tracking sparrows along power lines became her rebellion. Notebook entries piled up, crows stealing fries, adaptable little punk. Each scribble was a stitch in tear of her eco-grief. She learned to spot nests wedged between AC units, marveled pigeons' sidewalk hustle. Her fam, retired teachers, queer bird nerds, a teen with blue streaks in her hair, taught her to listen for starlings mimicking car alarms. Laughter loosened net in her chest. One gray morning, she spotted a bald eagle perched on a construction crane, regal as a king surveying a kingdom of concrete. Martha's pencil hovered. Maybe resilience wasn't about fixing everything. Maybe it was this, showing up, clumsy steps and all, to witness what still thrived. She pressed her palm to notebook's spine, feeling ghost of her grandmother's fingers guiding hers. Eagle took Martha's hands shook as she unfolded crumpled paper, another heat wave alert, another sleepless night fretting over melting glaciers. But this time, beneath doom-scrolling headlines, a flyer fluttered loose, Urban Birdwatch Collective, first-timers welcome. Ink smudged from rain, but that sketched sparrow seemed to wink her. 3 days later, she lurked outside a Capitol Hill coffeehouse, gripping a thrift store binocular case like a lifeline. Inside, a rainbow of puffer vests and silver ponytails huddled over mugs, swapping tales of rogue hawks nesting in skyscrapers. Martha's knee betrayed her with a pop as she sidled toward an empty chair, but nobody winced, just a red-headed woman sliding a cinnamon latte her way. Rookie jitters? Fam's got you. Field notebook open on her lap, she fumbled through her first entries. Pigeon, too obvious? Crow, how tell from raven? Pages grew messy with crossouts until mentor Jeanette leaned in, pointing a streaky blur outside window. See that tail flick? Junco, not sparrow. You're learning their gossip now. By week's end, Martha's notes sprouted doodles, chickadees with top hats, a grumpy-looking heron, and her apartment windowsill became a sunflower seed buffet. Rain couldn't dampen their Tuesday treks. Creator learned to spot nests woven from dental floss in parking garages, laughed when Jeanette tripped over a determined squirrel, damn millennials stealing my acorns. Each scribble in that notebook felt like stitching a frayed world back together. One evening, she paused mid-sentence, Blue Jay, 4:15 p.m., carrying twine, realizing grief had quieted beneath thrill of bearing witness. When spring arrived, so did a fledgling crisis, developers eyeing their best birding alley. Martha surprised herself by rallying crew with zoning law printouts, her notebook now a ledger of both feathers and community power. By summer, even youngest members called her Captain Junko, though she still mistook pigeons for doves on sleepy mornings. Her hands didn't shake anymore when unfolding papers. Now they held stories. Martha's hands shook as she unfolded crumpled paper. Another heatwave warning. Another headline about glaciers. She tossed it aside, grabbed her field notebook, its cover stained with last week's coffee, and shoved it into a crossbody bag. 58 years old, and here she was, stalking sparrows like some over-caffeinated Nancy Drew. Seattle's concrete jungle wasn't where she'd expected to find purpose, but Urban Birdwatching Collective met every Thursday that indie coffeehouse with terrible pun name, Beautiful Day, Ugh. Martha had joined on a whim, desperate to outrun gnawing dread that climate reports left in her gut. First time she'd shown up, binoculars dangling like costume jewelry, someone had joked about her rookie grip. She'd nearly walked out. But then she'd spotted a Stellar's jay, vibrant blue against a gray sky, and something in her chest had loosened. Now, 6 months in, her notebook bulged with scribbles, crow migration patterns, shifts in nesting seasons, even a hilarious incident where a seagull stole a tourist's sandwich. Data points, sure, but also proof that life persisted. Still, doubt crept in. What difference did jotting down bird trivia make? She wasn't a scientist, just a retired librarian with a bum knee and a habit of muttering news. One drizzly morning, stubbornness won. Martha limped to a construction site where Collective had noticed fewer sparrows. She crouched, ignoring protests from her joints, and spotted a scrap of nest wedged between scaffolding. Developers had raised another green patch. Her fingers hovered over notebook, hesitating. Then she flipped to a fresh page and sketched scene, adding a sharp note about habitat loss. Later, Beautiful Day, she slapped it onto group's community board. "Fam," she announced, channeling her granddaughter's slang with deliberate awkwardness, "we gotta document this crap." Laughter rippled through room, but nods followed. By month's end, their findings landed in a city council meeting. Small victory, but Martha's notebook became a weapon. Each entry was a quiet rebellion, against despair, against helplessness, against the idea that she was too old to matter. Birds didn't care about her age, they just needed someone to pay attention. So she did, one stubborn scribble at a time. Martha's hands shook as she unfolded crumpled paper, ink smudged from rain. Another climate report, another wave of dread. But this time, something snapped. She grabbed her field notebook, its cracked leather spine holding decades of ignored observations, and marched toward her favorite bench in Discovery Park. If doom scrolling wouldn't fix things, maybe counting crows would. By week 3, her scribbles had turned into a rebellion. Every pigeon tracked, every sparrow logged, became a middle finger to despair. She started posting findings on community boards, slyly tagging them birdwatching for apocalypse. Neighbors chuckled, then joined. Soon, her coffeehouse meetups overflowed with folks clutching binoculars like lifelines, retirees, baristas, even a tattooed barista who'd once scoffed, "Ain't birds just rats with wings?" Then came her gutsy move. She booked library's event space, slapped up flyers for Urban Bird Count, your anxiety's worst enemy. 50 people RSVP'd. 100 showed. She fumbled her opening line, knocked over a water glass, classic woman, but when she held up that battered notebook, pages fluttering with data, edges stained by espresso, silence fell. "We're not saving planet today," she said. "But we're saving ourselves." Cue twist. A local journalist, nursing a latte in back, snapped a shot of creator mid-laugh, crow's feet deep as she gestured a slide of Seattle's most dramatic seagulls. Next morning, her face blasted across socials. 58-year-old grandma schools city on climate hope went stupid viral. Emails piled up, schools, podcasts, even a skeptical climatologist who admitted, grudgingly, "Your data's not trash." By solstice, her collective had mapped over 5,000 urban birds. Notebook, once a relic, now lived in library's display case. Martha grinned each time someone paused to study its pages. Let world spin toward chaos. She'd rewritten her story, one feather, one flawed, glorious observation a time. Martha's hand steadied as she smoothed crumpled paper, her first bird tally, scribbled months ago when grief had weighed like wet wool. Now that same field notebook bulged with sketches, migration patterns, and coffee stains from weekly meetups with her urban birdwatching fam 58. She'd traded doom scrolling for dawn patrols, her binoculars trained not on loss but on a flicker of wings in cedars. Seattle's concrete jungle became her classroom. She logged crows outsmarting trash cans, spotted a barred owl napping in a community garden, even rallied neighbors to petition for safer bird-friendly windows. Her quirky habit? Whispering, "Nice feather day," to every sparrow, earning eye rolls from teens who later joined her walks. That notebook, once a solitary record, now brimmed with collective discoveries, a high schooler's first warbler sighting, a retiree's hand-drawn map of nest sites. Eco-grief didn't vanish, but it shrank beside action. Martha guided shaky hands, hers and others, toward purpose. They counted birds, yes, but also rebuilt belonging. Over lattes, they swapped stories of stubborn hope, their laughter scaring off gloom like jays mobbing a hawk. Grab your notebook, track wonder where